And of course, I click on the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Hello, everybody here. What am I saying? My mind is so off. Pop culture here. Good to see everybody. I really seriously missed you guys. I had a blast last week with Starship Troopers for our horror sci-fi stream, and then obviously we had the vote open, and the majority of people chose The Fly, which is I'm happy everyone's. For some people, it's their first time, and I'm happy that we're able to see the original first, and that way if you remember that from a few months ago, and so now you are able to compare. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping eventually we'll pick. One of my choices was on the list. There was Silent Running, and since we're going to start showing sci-fi movies, I want to try to post that one here eventually. By the way, hello to my fellow panel members. Gorillas, Random Thoughts, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Talking again. Doing okay,
I'm
good.
doing all right.
How's Owen?
Oh, he does bombs.
Oh, well, good. I guess you're getting a little tonight's peace and quiet. And Mrs. V, my good buddy, how are you doing? Yes, Gorilla.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm just sitting here trolling some people on the game I've been playing. I've been trolling them all night.
What game is that?
Oh, game. It's a game that's about 15 years old.
Oh, cool. And Nemesis, you there? How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing well, Pop. I'm doing well. Yeah,
right.
happy to be here. How are you doing?
Cannot be better. It's I had my chemo last week. I was able to ride that out. That's behind me now. So the next couple of weeks should be good. My voice isn't quite there, but physically, I feel good. More than usual.
Awesome. Good to hear
I'm
that.
very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm not going to complain. I got a little bit of pain in my left ribs, but as long as I don't move in the wrong position, I seem to be okay. And I wanted to say hello to Cap After Dark. I wanted to say hello to the chat, everybody. Obviously, I have not forgotten you, so it is so good to see everyone. And I know some of you have been waiting here since before the chat started. And bear with me.
Hey,
StreamYards is acting kind of screwed up. When I select, and Jill was having the same issue today. When I select a chat to highlight and put it up on the panel where everybody could see it there, then it hides it for us in the chat, and we can't see it. A blue bar covers it. So I have to read it from the chat. So bear with me. Hey Pops, hey all, says Gap After Dark. And hello Lemon Pie. Hail Pop. Well,
hey,
hello, Lemon Pie.
Hey Scurvy, hey Gap.
Good to see you all. Lemon Pie says, hello, Gap. Oh, that's good. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Perfect. And Lemon Pie says, hello there, Gorilla. So there we go. You got an acknowledgement from Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says,
hey, Lemon.
Yeah. Now notice, he says
and
hello
Gap.
to me, buddy. Now notice, Scurvy says hello to me, but he shoots Nemesis.
That's because he's faster to the draw on me sometimes. Sometimes I win, sometimes he wins. This time he got me. He got me good.
And Lemon Pie says, fun fact, the original title this film is going to be pretty fly for a white guy. I have to say this.
Nice.
I still remember I was in the Air Force when this came out, and I went with my buddies. We went after work, and it was the night showing. And it's the inside of the walk-in where they had the you could see like there was I don't know how many screens it had, like maybe 4 screens, and there was a doorway to each one. You could see 4 big wide doors where you just walk in to go to see the movie, and they had all the titles of the movie, the marquees, right above each door, the title of each. And the last 2 on the list was The Fly, which was this one, and then the one next to it was Gonna Get You, Sucker. It was a comedy. It was a blaxploitation comedy from the same year, 86. And it was funny because I remember on the marquee, the 2 words, they were crammed together and it said fly sucker. And we were laughing at that. Of course, we were drinking. Oh, well. That's
Of course.
Right.
Whatever. That's interesting. Cool, dude.
So, as far as spoilers, who cares? We're going to be covering, obviously, The Fly tonight from 1986. Most people have already seen it. I'm assuming if you're in the chat, you've probably already seen it. If you have not, I hope we don't ruin it for you. Yes, Gorilla.
I was going to say, welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome.
Welcome. So good to see you. When you highlight those, Gorilla, I can see them just fine. When I highlight them, it covers them and you can't see them.
Mine says hide.
Mine says
Hello,
hide
Miss
too.
Martin Muses.
Yeah, mine
Sorry,
says
Bob.
hide too, but it's okay. Mine says hide too, but if I click hide, it hides the chat from the panel. See, that's the problem is we want to show it up on the panel, but then if we click it again, it takes it off the panel. Like right now, I can't. There, I got to move my hand off it.
If you click like in that white area that's off to the side there, it'll remove that hide thing.
The blue bar.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll try that next time. Okay, where are you at on that chat? Because that's the last one. Okay,
last one.
Okay. Okay, is there anything first question I have to ask, obviously, is for Gorilla and Nemesis, both of you. This is the first time you've seen the movie. So, without your final grade, what would you say overall for a sequel? What do you guys think? Do you think it holds up for a sequel or bad? I mean, a remake. Sorry, remake.
Some parts were better. Some parts were worse.
I would agree. Yeah, like it's. I mean, for special effects, you can't compare. Obviously, you can't compare a '50s movie to a David Cronenberg film. Like it's not fair. But for pacing and whatnot, I almost think that the first movie, the original, did it better.
Yes, well, the first movie was only 90 minutes, so they had to really get to it pretty quick. He was, I don't remember exactly, but in the original movie, he was teleporting within 10 minutes at the beginning of the movie, maybe at the most. And he was practicing with the cat and the dish and all that.
Yeah, the cat is what strikes out most to me.
And of course, here we get
a poor kitty. Oh my God, man! I feel a lot worse for the baboon, but I mean, at least it fucking. Well, I mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to the baboon scene when we get to the baboon scene, but.
Oh, you should see what they do in the sequel. I do encourage the sequel. Maybe we'll cover it one of these nights. It's not bad. It's not bad for a sequel to a remake. It's actually pretty good. Eric Stoltz is a capable actor. In fact, that's why they pulled him out Back to the Future. He was too serious. So they said, you're fired. And that's when they got, I keep ready to say Marty McFly, but Michael J. Fox.
And welcome, Edge of Time. He says, greetings from the Edge of Time.
Hail, Edge of Time. Hope you're doing well. Glad you could join us. Okay,
hello,
so
Edge of Time. And
welcome, D. Oberg. Welcome, D. Oberg.
Hello, D. Oberg.
And go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to giggle. I'm like, we still, even after 33, 34, 4 of these, we still kind of stumble on each other's words. It's okay. Anyways, carrying on, getting distracted.
That always happens with these live streams. Yeah, sorry about that.
And I apologize too.
Oh, no, it's fine. I have a quick question here before we start. Sorry, I have another question for you guys. And for those of you guys in the chat, This is for everybody, chat and panel. You guys remember, or you are aware, that Geena Davis was one of the ones that started the woke movement in Hollywood, right?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, this will be the first time I've watched this movie or any movie of hers since then, because I used to like her. I thought she was okay. But when she did that, that kind of turned me off because it was
And
really
I mean,
severe. It was like the beginning of the end of Hollywood. And now we see what has become of Hollywood, and she was behind it.
well, I mean, it's not necessarily just her, but like,
Wait,
and I mean, at some point, this was going to come out.
Okay, have
Right.
you ever heard of that? Okay, have you guys ever heard of the Bechdel test?
No.
Okay,
I mean, is this? Sorry, before we get too distracted, is this pertinent for the film, or?
Well, I was just explaining that Geena Davis basically wrote it on that. I can cover more later. It was based on the Bechdel test thing written by a feminist, a left way. What do they call it?
Oh, is that the checklist thing?
Well, where the scripts, they've got to be several scenes where the women don't talk about a man. The women are dominating. Women are everything you see now. Women are powerful. Men are weak. She invested into a company. They created an AI, and what it does, it goes over Hollywood scripts, and it turns them into woke. And the first thing that happened is Disney hired her and all the big studios. And that was back in about 2010, 12. I can find the article. I'm going to find the article tonight while we're watching this movie, So if you guys are like, does this, idiot even know what he's talking about? I'll show you the article.
Oh, Pop, we're not calling you an idiot. Not at all. We're just...
Well, I know, but it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. And I'm saying before she did it, we didn't have woke movies. And when she created it, there's an article like in, I don't know, the Hollywood... I don't know which one it was. I'll pull it up. But anyway, all the studios invested into it and hired her. And the reason why she did it was because her acting career was failed, as we all know. It was dead. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, let's get into the movie, all right?
Let's do that.
All right, welcome, Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne. She's still in the hospital for another night, unfortunately.
Hi, Suzanne. Hope you're doing well. I mean, sorry to hear that you're in the hospital. But speaking of, if anyone has the opportunity, Suzanne we have a link to help out Suzanne. She is a lovely person and definitely deserves your help if you can help her out.
Yeah, and welcome, Boomer. Welcome.
Hi, Boomer.
He's asking Suzanne how she's doing. And
Good
thank you,
Boomer.
Suzanne, for dropping the links there. And everybody's just saying hi to each other here. All right, we're all caught up.
All queued up. All right. I'm getting the movie set here. We're getting ready to start any second. And once again, welcome everybody in the chat. Obviously, I'm going to have to skip every so many seconds, so I hope I don't get a copyright strike. So I hope you have seen it. Like I said, I don't want to ruin it. If you enjoy the stream, consider hitting the like button. And if you haven't done so, maybe sub to my channel. Let me share this.
Definitely, yeah. If you haven't subbed to Pop's channel already, please do. And if you haven't subbed to either Gorilla's or my channel, we would love to have your subscriptions, please. Not to be begging, but definitely. Got to do the obligatory ritual.
Well, I totally agree. We've got a lot of fascinating, fun content for you to check out. Everybody's different. Everybody has something different on their channels. And so you'll definitely find a variety. You will not be disappointed. All right, so here we go. Hopefully the subtitles will work the first time. By the way, Brooks Films, you guys know what that means, right? You know who Brooks is, right?
No.
Mel Brooks?
Yes. Mel Brooks, actually.
Okay.
Mel Brooks. Yeah, definitely Mel Brooks. Well, what happened is, I'll make this fast, is obviously you guys remember him from his comedies. Like Spaceballs,
Spaceballs,
among many others. But he started making movies that were making him lose money, and he was nearly bankrupt. And I've said it before, and his older movies got really bad. Like I said, he was losing money. They were not making money. So anyway, So when he knew that he was low on money, he knew he had to, it's like make an investment. It's like, so what he would do is he would produce, which he's doing here. He's in the background. He's not directing. He's not writing. And what he does is because he also watches movies, and he'll find a really good director to make the movie for him. And he did it with The Elephant Man. He did it with David Lynch, because David Lynch, he's seen Eraserhead, which I'm hoping we're going to cover one of these nights. Eraserhead by David Lynch. Mel Brooks saw it, loved it, hired him to do The Elephant Man. Have you guys ever seen that one?
I have not. I've seen Eraserhead. I have not seen The Elephant Man.
How about you?
I've seen Eraserhead a few times.
Oh.
Holy.
All right, then we got a fellow, hopefully a fan.
Is that no to both films, Gorilla?
I haven't seen either one.
Oh Jesus! Okay, well, I mean, okay, yeah, all right.
But you
Yeah,
guys
we'll definitely cover Eraserhead.
You guys know the
Nemesis.
story. Yes.
What's up?
I was gonna say, Nemesis. There's a reason Jerm wants to smack me every week when we do our Sunday cinema.
Well, I mean, it's you. Is it you being sassy? Like, is that adorable giggle of yours? What is it?
No, I don't know half the movie. Like he'll go, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "No." Okay, we're gonna have to add that to the list. Have you seen this one? No. Okay, we're gonna have to add that one to the list. Have you seen this one? No. We gotta add that one to the list.
That's right. It's like school. I'll learn you.
Right? Why don't you just quit your job and like watch all these movies, bro? Anyways, we're getting distracted.
Well, the way
Yeah.
things are going, I won't have to quit.
Well, I hope nothing bad's happening there.
Nothing I could talk about on stream.
On the air.
Oh, give us the juicy details later.
Sorry to hear that. So obviously it's directed by David Cronenberg. Yes, Mel Brooks hired him and produced this movie. And of course it was a success. And then once Mel Brooks has the money in his hand, it's like a guy who wins in Vegas. He's like, yeah, I got some money now. And then the first thing he did after he made this movie, and it was a success, is he went and made another bad comedy. Life Stakes, I think, was the one after this one. And the movie stunk, of course, and lost money. So he would do that. He did the same thing with The Elephant Man. He waited until he was, he only had a little bit of money left. And then he would just basically hire a good director, get a good story, good script, and just stay out of it.
I don't fault the guy for that.
I don't
because I'll be honest, Bob. Like, even if he somehow managed to get all these people to earn enough money to act, and even if he's not a good actor or whatever, he got to live his passion. It's not like, like most of these movies, even if they're bad, it's not like they're like harmful to society, like some of the films we've seen.
No, in fact, quite the opposite. I have high praise for Mel Brooks. I'm a big fan of his earlier movies, and I'm not a fan of his later ones. But I like Mel Brooks. He's smart, and he definitely has money. I'm a big fan of it. But the older his work gets, the better it is.
And that's generally how it goes.
It is, because he got stale after a while. At least in my opinion, I think he needed to help with more writers. That's why Young Frankenstein was so good, because Gene Wilder told him to stay out of it. He just directed it. Gene Wilder did the whole script.
Well, and see, speaking of scripts, if we carry on with this film, there was a lot of parts.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good, buddy. It's just, we can talk about this while we go over the slides for the first 40 minutes. Because let's face it, the first basic 30 minutes are just character development. We get to meet our main cast here. Starts off at a scientific gala, and we have our two main characters.
But I do admit Geena Davis was beautiful back then. I used past tense, definitely. Make sure everybody understands that. Past tense.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, most people are much more beautiful back in the day than they are, 40 years later.
Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but she married the director, Rennie Harlan. And he was a good director. He made some good movies. He started with Australian movies, and then she married him. He moved in. Anyway, you guys have seen the movie, ever heard of the movie Cutthroat Island with her?
Dude, yeah, I saw that as a kid. Holy shit.
Okay. All right. They made, Rennie Harlan directed it because he was the director, and because she was his wife, he gave her the part. And that was one of the first movies where it was all about obvious woman power. I mean, it was like very woke. The men were weak. But this was years before woke came into existence. Cutthroat Island was like 90s. Anyway, it was so bad, lost so much money that it put the studio out of business.
Brutal.
I think it was Carol Co, if I remember right. But yeah, she's been a feminist for decades, long before.
Anyway. Everyone has their cause, right? Like, so we have Seth Brundle here, played by the so sexy Jeff Goldblum.
He's great. His manic personality and the way he moves. It's like right. Same with Jurassic Park. The director probably says, "Just be Jeff Goldblum and just act like yourself." It's like Christopher Walken. You don't tell him how to act. You just say, "Just be yourself."
Well, and that's right. Like, and sometimes I hate that, right? And sometimes I love it, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of William Shatner, but William Shatner is William Shatner. That's just what he does, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah. It's like John Wayne. Everybody knows John Wayne. It's just John Wayne. You don't tell him how to act.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I was thinking too. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So that says, Boomer, I'm good now. And he says, and I'm
glad you're in good hands. Yeah, I'm glad you're being taken care of, Suzanne. So I'm really happy. That's great to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Says, praying for you, Suzanne. Like the lick button.
Yeah, lick that like button.
Maybe you should wash it first.
D. Oberg says, The Fly. A 3-letter word and another 3-letter word equals episode 33. And
I think yes.
Oh, nice. Interesting.
Right, episode 33 of this stream. Yes.
Other Greg says, Warning, warning, wings flapping wildly. And welcome, Euler Greg. Welcome.
And
hey, OG.
The special effects, makeup effects, creature effects, mechanical effects, all that are done by a guy named Chris Wallace. Amazing. I think it's amazing work that he does. And he does so well that he directs the sequel. So when here he does the makeup effects, in the sequel, The Fly 2, he directs the movie and does the makeup effects.
Yeah. Interesting. And once again, that doesn't really necessarily mean anything, but like, holy moly, like the creature effects.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that. That's why I know he's always talk about that crap.
Well, and seeing it's funny because, like, I'm sorry, Gorilla, if I just got one thing to say before my ADD kicks it out of my mind. I wish that there was more, we got to see more of the transformation throughout the movie. I wish there was less build up in character development in the beginning. I know it sounds silly, and there was more focus on Jeff Goldblum becoming the Fly, but I'm still happy with what we got.
It's like when we covered, because it's also 80s, when we covered The Howling. Remember that's how most movies were back then. You had to slow build up, and it usually took about half the movie or whatever. Now people are used to, bang right out the door, everything starts happening. In fact, what most movies do is which I hate this trend, but it seems to be really in all these bad, like Blumhouse movies and all the current things. The very beginning, it shows a clip from the end of the movie. Like the girl surviving, the final girl surviving and coming out with all the blood and everything. Like, she's fine. And then it says 1 month earlier. And then it cuts and shows okay. It's like I hate. Anyway, I just don't like modern horror movies.
Did you hate it when that happened in Starship Troopers?
No, because that was part of the plot where we were watching a news clip.
Okay. So it has to be the context of it, and I understand where you're coming from for sure.
If it's within the story.
Okay.
And that was done cleverly. Normally, it's just a clip from the end of the movie, and then it starts to the beginning. And they do that, and the reason why I want to bring that up is they do that for modern audiences. They know that with ADHD, who get bored fast. So that's the reason why they show that stupid clip at the end. So they're telling you, hey, stick around for this. Bear with us. That's what the movies do now.
Well, come on, man. You got to tickle my balls or something a little bit, right? You can't just give me like 45 to an hour long of just dry nonsense. Like, you got to do something. Give me anything.
Hey, Nemesis there, it's called foreplay.
Oh, that is correct. Sorry, I got a little bit too. Anyways.
Well, I come from
All
the
right,
old school. I come from the old film school, and I prefer the mystery and the twist ending, where you don't see what's going to happen. I'm really into waiting
seeing
for
like
it. I
I
can
feel
tell
like
when the
that's
movie's. Go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say I feel like that's a trope nowadays. The twist ending, like it's most of the time it's done awfully. What's a twist? Like the M. Night
Well,
Shyamalan joke.
well, not necessarily like the twist. Like, for example, this movie here, it doesn't really have a twist. It has a conclusion, which is suspenseful because you don't know what's going to happen. But it's not
Yeah.
like a twist. Well, oh, it wasn't really this person that killed this person. It was this person. Like those horrible Scream movies. I hate those.
Yeah.
See, and there was one little bit. If we carry on, sorry, are there any more chats before we keep getting distracted?
Yeah, they're building up. They're building up. That's what I've been
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
say.
Okay.
Right, here's where
Yeah. Gap here says, I got my fly swatter ready.
Hell yeah. You're going to need a big fly swatter. You're going to need a bigger fly swatter.
Well, Gap, I got a list of people for you to start swatting. And welcome, Cody Guy. Welcome.
Hey, Cody.
Hey, Cody guy.
Well,
Oh, sorry, Pop.
Yeah,
Don't get
Greg
I'm
here.
coughing. I'm trying not to.
Yeah. Greg says Elephant Man is a great movie. I've never seen it, so.
Oh, it's
he says,
amazing.
"Thanks
We're
for-"
going to cover it. I know it's not really. It's so good. I don't know if you consider it horror or not, but I am definitely going to cover it on this stream. I'm just trying to
Which
decide
movie
if
is
I should do it. The Elephant Man, and I'm trying to decide if
Oh,
I should
okay.
do it. Yeah, David Lynch, but of course his first movie was Eraserhead, and I'm trying to decide if I should do that. Show that one first, but I don't necessarily have to. The Elephant Man stands on its own. Obviously, you guys at least kind of aware of the story about it, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of the real life story of the Elephant Man, and Eraserhead is it's a horror. It's a nightmare movie. It's very hard to
Nightmare,
nail
yes.
that down. So
It's nightmare. Yes, that's the only category that it fits in, and we'll cover that when we watch it. And I can't
Cool.
wait for
All
Gorilla's opinion on that one.
All right, Suzanne says, thanks, Gap. Appreciate it, per as always. And everybody say hi, hey. There, Oiler Greg says, dog and whiskey tonight. I'm actually drinking. Cool.
Oh, I thought that was PvP for a second.
Oiler Greg says, I got my Christmas lights and tree up today. Nice. I've had mine up since Black Friday because the kids wanted it up, and the rule is we don't put it up until we eat the damn bird.
Well, at least it wasn't since last year, so that's good.
Yeah. And Oiler Greg says Mel Brooks was an anti-woke liberal.
Yes. I just got tired of it. I don't know. Jokes got old. That's all I can
That's
say.
fair.
Yeah. And welcome, Jim. Or should I say, damn it, Jim?
Hello,
Hey,
good
Jim.
to
How
see
you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Jim.
Yeah. And Oiler Greg says Basil now works easy because he can't do night streams. Oh, that sucks.
Oh, yeah, I know he's working. I apologize. I hope you get to. Yeah, he did message me on the app for the last stream, and I hope you get to watch this one in the rerun, guys. If you're not able to watch it live,
We will definitely see you on the rerun, and thank you for watching the rerun. We appreciate it, and we are getting on with the movie. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I was gonna. Right, he's showing her the pods because I don't know if any of you in the chat were here for us when we were here with us when we covered the original Fly, but I know we're not really talking about the movie like we should be. But he's a scientist, and he invents these two pods that he could teleport from one to another, and they're connected by a cable at this point. It's not quite like Star Trek. And he brings home, he just finally met whatever Geena Davis's character, he just met her for the first time. And he brings her home to his loft and then tells her that he's a scientist. And then he's working on these pods and teleportation. And now he's typing in the password and he's going to get experiment. Anyway, go ahead. At least I figure we should get caught up in the movie, and there we are. So go ahead.
Yeah. Oiler Greg says he's dead, Jim. And everybody's just saying hi and people are dropping links. This is the Test Falcon stream. That was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool short there. And Howley versus Fly. Creature battle. Who wins? I don't know. And Lemon Pie, can you drop my Gifts and Go link, please? Says Suzanne. And Gap says the Fly wins.
I'm curious for those of you in the chat. Can you put a Y or an N in the chat whether you've seen this movie before or not? I'm curious how many people have seen this. Or are you guys like Gorilla and Nemesis who've never seen it?
Yeah. And apparently I made Suzanne laugh for some reason, somehow.
Well, I'm good. She needs it.
Yeah. And breaking news, Commodore Boone and USS Ajax coming back to Commodore Productions 2024 video coming soon. Cool. This is thanks Scurvy, and here's another link. And we got Scurvy here putting Nemesis's Give and Go in, and Euler and D. Oberg both put a Y.
Okay, very cool then. I'm not the only one. All right.
Scurvy says gave a Y. It's a saw movie a long time ago, and Gap gave it a Y. And Jim says, thanks for reading breaking news. I posted it in another chat, and they removed it from the chat. What do you think about that? Well, depends.
Not here though, right?
Yeah, just depends on the rules of their streams. If they don't, and Suzanne
exactly.
says, Scurvy, I ended up in the hospital because of no action due to them cutting off the. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry about that, Suzanne. They cut off.
Yeah, that's brutal. And so, sorry, Geena Davis's character, her name is Veronica, just so we know.
And Greg calls them a bunch of jerks. And Suzanne says, yeah, seen many times. And Scurvy here says, Suzanne, yeah, and you got out today, right? All right, we're all caught up.
All right, let's carry on. Yes, thank you, Gorilla. And thanks to everyone in the chat. And now, we have Seth Brundle showing Veronica the teleported and disintegrated and reintegrated stocking.
Right, we're getting our exposition scene. So he's basically telling her and us, the audience, what's going on and how he was able to manufacture this teleportation device. What's interesting is in the first movie, they handled this in just a few sentences.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, right. There's been a lot of time on it here. But of course, the thing is, in the original movie, obviously he was married. So here he's not. So that's why they're spending so much time on developing the relationship between these two. I don't know, the more I think about it, the more she looks like a man in a wig.
Oh, come on. She's not that bad.
No, she's got that. She looks very 80s. Like she has a very 80s. And it's not just the clothing or whatever. She looks like an 80s actress. And so we have here the introduction to Stathis Borans, John Getz.
Her ex-boyfriend or fiance or something like that, right?
Well, so we find out later in the film that he was a professor in college and she was like a sophomore student, and they hooked up then, and he got her into journalism, and now he has his own scientific newspaper and she works for him.
Yes.
I believe that's how it is.
I think you're right. Yes. And he is a creep. So, and that I have to admit, I'm sure the actor's fine. And I know he went on to do a lot of things, but as far as casting, they did a good job. He did a good job of being a creep.
Oh, dude, he played a fantastic bad guy. He was fantastic. He made you dislike him. I was just like, oh, I don't like you.
Hey, I can name a bunch of other characters I'd hate more than him.
Right. We get our 80s
in
orange.
This movie?
What?
In this movie, Gorilla? No, I'm talking about in this movie. Oh, yeah, like in the comparison to like characters in general, yeah, he's pretty low on the list of like people I don't like. Like he has his own redemption arc by the end of the movie. It might cost him an arm, and anyways, we'll get there when we get there.
That's true. And you guys are too young to remember when fast food places looked like this.
Oh yeah, because McDonald's now looks like it's going through a midlife crisis.
Well, not that, but the chairs are getting smaller and smaller. And back then, if you'll notice, if you look closely, they actually had padding on the chairs. They're not like solid flat steel. They intentionally now make them to where they're not comfortable, so you don't hang around very long. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it looks like the Wendy's I used to work at. Like it's, and I mean, yeah, of course, because otherwise you get vagrants and shit, and they just hang out, and you're just like, God damn it. Anyways, moving on.
But it's like bus stops and stuff. They intentionally designed them. I was watching a documentary on that, and on furniture where they intentionally do it so you don't stay very long.
Right, so here we have just kind of more exposition, really. Like, I don't know, is this really anything that's important? As far as I know, it's just more of just
he's still talking about the theory behind the teleportation.
Right, and I guess, like, because I know people like to hear, there's a term for it, and it's, you guys know what I mean, when they add scientific jargon to it.
Oh, yeah.
To give it validation. Totally.
Yes. To where that way it sounds kind of logical, right? You know, we don't know. Obviously, it's not true, but it sounds logical because they use some words we recognize.
Technobabble. There we go. That's the word.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, no worries. And yeah, and I mean, like, sure, we need it. But once again, like, this to me is a problem in the movie. Is like, we don't need this. We don't need this. We just don't. We could cut a bunch of this movie out in the beginning and just focus on to the other part. Like, because it's funny, because both films are an hour and a half.
Yes.
Like, but this film seems substantially longer than the original Fly. At least for the first half of the movie, until we start getting the Cronenberg-esque parts of the movie.
Yes, it will kick in. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think Elephant Man. They introduce you to the Elephant Man from the very beginning. I don't think there's a little bit of mystery at first where they don't reveal him. It's like a major reveal in the movie. But I'm trying to remember how long it took. And I know the movie's not that long, but it's an amazing movie. Won many Academy Awards. If that means anything, that's when they used to mean something back then. They don't anymore, of course. And then this is her creepy ex came to her apartment and took a shower and everything, right? If I remember right. And she's told
that is correct.
She's saying you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's like,
creep.
What? Who does that?
Right. Oh, dude, I don't understand. And like he's like, oh, you didn't change the lock because he had the key. He refuses to give the key back. That's part of the whole thing in the movie is he has the key, he's just like he's a dick about it. He's obsessed with her. You're right.
Right. He's her ex, but he's obsessed because obviously she dumped him, not the other way around. Obviously she dumped him, and he's still obsessed with her, and he's basically to the border of being a stalker.
Yeah.
You're at camera of hers, obviously before the phone. Big old VHS portable camera. The battery weighs a pound. Definitely remember using those. And here's where he does the experiment with the baboon, right?
That is correct, yeah.
This is what we get, unfortunately.
Well, because she asked, she's like, well, he's like, have you ever tried to deal with like animate objects? That the big takeaway of that whole scene of them eating was he hasn't been able to do it with living objects yet, and we're about to see why.
Correct. I just did right. He's obviously it's similar to the original. He's experimenting and he's fine tuning it. It doesn't quite work at the beginning.
You know, it's kind of funny there. He has to try to sit close so he doesn't waste brain. And he only has he has all the same clothes so he doesn't waste time.
A lot of smart people do. Yes, a lot of smart people do that. But it's like they'll have like 8 different jackets of all the same color, 8 matching 8 red ties, 8 white shirts. I think Einstein did that if I remember right. And it makes sense. Because their mind is so busy with the things they don't want to. They're not the ones to stand there, look at their wardrobe, and decide what they're going to wear the next day. They just grab the same thing, just make sure it's clean. Of course, they're smooching. I don't think we have to worry about any nudity with this movie, thank goodness.
Not really. Well, I mean, we get to see a lot of Jeff Goldblum ass, if that's your thing.
Right.
Like,
no, I'm talking about Geena Davis. She's not going to show her self.
No, so. And even with that other girl that he picks up in the bar, we get to see a little bit of like under boob and side boob, but that's about it.
True.
So, yeah, there's a lot more sex in this movie. If you like your movies to have sex, that's definitely a plus for you for this one.
Yes, I'm sure you're gonna have more sex in this one than the 1958 version or whatever that was.
Right. Yeah. I know.
No, but she does show her body off, just not in this movie.
Oh well, yeah, Geena Davis has been naked in other films, but
fortunately, I don't remember that right now.
Nah, I'm sure she's fine.
I don't, like I said, it's because of what she did. I mean, like I said, I'll be showing you guys that article, and it's just unfortunately it changed my opinion about the actress.
And you are entitled to your opinion for sure, of course, Bob.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, dude, no, don't be sorry.
All right, so I have to ask you too. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate her?
In this movie?
No, Geena Davis, the actress. Just
well, yeah, but 10. Like Geena Davis in this movie.
I'll give it a 8.
No, I'm not talking about her acting.
No, Bob. We're talking about her looks in this movie because, like, I don't have any other reference of Geena Davis right now. So this is all I know of Geena Davis.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is your opinion of what she looked like then, right? Not now.
Oh, right now, like in this movie, she looks fine. Like 7.5 for sure. I would totally do stuff with her 100%.
Okay, so now's the baboon. What did I do wrong? You got a second baboon?
Yeah. So one of the things that in the whole spiels that we've skipped over because we don't really need to talk about it is that he farms a lot of the work out, like all the parts and whatnot, to other people, and he just builds it together. Nobody knows what this project is. Nobody knows that he's building telepods. He's like, I get that. Exactly. It's a big secrecy.
Right, except in the first one, he was keeping the secret from his brother, which was Vincent Price. And here he's keeping it from, I guess, the government or the university or wherever was funding it.
I think it's just the scientific community in general, because he says, he's like, well, my work's safe and it's small, so the company who funds me doesn't bother me, and they know in the end they're going to own whatever this is anyway, so it doesn't matter. And he's very blasé about it, but at the same time, he was incredibly paranoid about the scientific community in general finding out about it until it's 100% ready.
Yes.
And that's what comes into contention later on when we get Scummy McDouchebag doing his thing.
What I like about it is the casting is great is because Jeff Goldblum, his acting, the way he acts eccentric, he acts like somebody who would be really smart. He's really good at doing that. Obviously, he's just an actor, but he's a good job playing the eccentric, paranoid scientist.
Yeah. Can we catch up on chat real quick?
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do it up.
Suzanne says, no, tomorrow. No, oh, that sucks. I hate when they do that. And Scurvy says, oh, okay. And then Greg says, lurking mode enabled. Beep, beep. Mini flashing lights. And D. Oberg says, are the chairs getting smaller or the people getting bigger? Both.
Both, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jim says, oh, your strobe light is great, man. LOL. And Scurvy says, that's a disturbing gif up in the corner.
Oh, we're going to get to that scene in a little bit. I think that was an amazing scene.
What he's holding looks so wrong.
Maybe it looks so right to somebody else, man. It's all up to interpretation. But yeah, see, and that's one of the legendary scenes that I had heard about.
Yeah. And then Scurvy here says, nudity in the chat. Well, that would be on the honor system since we can't know for sure. That's laughing at Scurvy. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you, Gorilla. So we saw he did an experiment with the monkey, and it did survive. It came out and it jumped up in his arms and hugged him, but he's still experimenting. Oh, that's right. This is where he decides to go in himself. Okay, so there we go, guys. You guys are right. Not quite halfway through the film, but
that's okay. So what happened here is like the first monkey got turned inside out, and it's an awesome creature effect that we missed, unfortunately. Definitely watch the movie for
I did show the video
effects.
Of it. Right. Well, we kind of missed the monkey getting into the chamber, but I usually do try to catch the gore spots, but I can only show up for a couple seconds. Not even,
it's okay.
Second or whatever.
Yeah, no, it is very brief. Like it's a good reveal. Like definitely worth checking out. And then so his whole thing is that like he didn't realize that Veronica was a reporter. I still don't know how that he doesn't figure that out. I'm very confused. So she runs off to her ex, who is her boss, and with the tape. And so Jeff Goldblum, Brundle, Seth.
Seth Brundle.
Right, I want to call him Brundle. You know what we're going to get to in a bit. So Brundle here gets upset. He gets drunk, and he decides to try teleporting himself. And one of the audio cues that we haven't been able to cover here is the sound of a fly and a baboon noticing the fly. So the baboon notices the fly, but Seth, being drunk, does not notice the fly. Dun dun dun. And once again, the musical cues are really good in this scene. Even throughout this whole movie, it's one of the better parts of the movie is the musical accompaniment to it.
Yeah, I think we missed the one line I was laughing so hard about there was that one her boss or whatever or ex, and then he goes, "Hey, do you want to have sex? No love making, just some good old relaxation there." And she tells him to F off. I was like, hey, maybe I should try that line.
Well, see, but she doesn't. She says, "You're disgusting," and gives him a smile, which to me, I'm like, oh, that's just leading him on. It's just like, yeah, you're proving him right. Like, but I mean, yeah, because and then have you gotten to the scene where he's like, he freaks out? He's like, "You're having sex with him. How's his car? Eggplant. How's his eggplant?" And that type of thing. So,
right. The two are definitely jealous of each other. And here's the first reveal. So basically, he, after the teleportation with the fly, snuck in there with them like in the original movie. He came out, obviously he doesn't have the head of the fly like the original, but he said he felt very exhilarated, in excellent shape. They make it a point of showing that he's in fine physical shape with hardly any fat on his body. And so he thinks it's a good thing. He thinks that teleporting actually is what's making him feel better. And obviously it's not. It's the DNA of the fly, because flies are very active. And this is the first time she noticed, I guess, bristles of fly hair on his back. That's what that was, where it showed her hand on his back. He catches a fly with his hand and releases it. So his reflexes are very fast. And he's not a superhero. She's looking used. Now he's showing off how he's in fine physical shape, and he's suddenly doing a bunch of acrobatics too and stuff.
And I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're swapping back and forth between an actual stunt double and
Oh yes.
not Jeff Goldblum, but still, it does a really interesting sense to convey that he's getting like super strong and whatnot.
Strong, right? Strong and in better shape. So I think he worked out for this movie because I don't remember him in the other movies. He was just skinny. He wasn't like this.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure he looked like that in Earth Women Are Easy.
Did he show his chest in that? I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Oh, and see, like I've only seen bits and pieces and heard people talking about it, so I genuinely don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know.
Here we get more time with them talking head. And he keeps staring at the coffee. I think it's because of the sugar, isn't it?
Yeah, he keeps loading up on the sugar, and he's like, because he's not even thinking about it. He's just like, and she notices something weird, right? Like, and I mean, like, he's just so hyper focused on whatever they were talking about. And it's up during in one of these sex sessions that she mentions about flesh and how his flesh drives his flesh drives her crazy, and bringing Seth to realize that the computer is dumb. It only knows what we tell it, and it doesn't understand the human emotion. It doesn't understand how to excite the flesh that a human person can. I'm sorry, I think I skipped ahead a little bit because we haven't gotten to the scene with the stakes yet. And that's the big scientific experiment.
Yeah, we did. That's the stakes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to grab it. I got to grab a soda. I'm thirsty.
All right,
yeah, buddy. No worries. Is there some chats?
Scurvy says, yeah, that GIF looks like, hey, check it out. I can attach my thing. It still wiggles. Look.
Right. Come on now. That's just like, oh, God, we broke Gorilla.
I was not expecting that in the chat. That's about the stuff we say on my Walton stream. Suzanne says many extremely intelligent people do the same wardrobe daily, so as not to be bothered wasting time with clothing choices. Yeah. Just scurvy right, LOL. Yeah. Here's Jim's Jim's channel. He goes. And Scurvy says, what's scarier, the Fly or new Jeff Goldblum? Well, it all depends on which way you swing, I guess.
Oh, exactly.
And new Jeff Goldblum, dude, is the scariest.
Oh, man, you got all tuckered out from your big giggle session there. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Nasty where she cuts the hair and they're like wires.
Well, it's like fly hairs. It's very, I think it's great. It's fantastic. And he's just like, well, and it's because that's the part where he was, he laid on the computer chip when they were having sex. And he had the computer chip embedded in his back.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Because then she's like, oh, I just want to eat you up. And she's like, that's what happens, right? That's why old ladies like pinching the cheeks of babies. It's the flesh. And you're just like, that's creepy and awesome. I like it. Right? Like the whole monologue about how the flesh and how it lacks is actually really good. It's one of the better monologues in this movie, in my opinion.
I really miss practical gore effects. It doesn't seem like they have that hardly at all anymore. Everything's CGI. If this was remade now, it would probably be CGI. I don't know. I like the 80s, like with The Thing, and then this. I mean, they really stood out with the gore effects. It was the good old days.
Yeah, this was definitely the silver era of practical gore effects for sure.
I'm trying to think, but the only effects now that you see, right? And I give them credit; they're good effects. But like Terrifier movies, where gore, people being mutilated when they're killed.
Actually, Terrifier 2 has a ton of practical gore, and it's fantastic. Have you seen it, Pop?
It does. Oh, it does. It does.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, not the second one yet. But I agree. A lot of gore, and I like the gore. I like those movies. They're probably a little too rough for Gorilla and some of the other people on the stream.
Oh my God, Gorilla couldn't.
No, I
no,
appreciate it, but I look at that like a different kind of practical effect than like mechanical effects and the detail with it, like The Thing. It's like, I guess it's like a puppet. Where they make it look like
totally.
a monster. It's not a guy in a suit. It's something that's totally outrageous.
Yeah.
And here's the fly. It's a monster. That's it. It's a good monster movie with practical effects. That's what I would have.
And do we have any? No worries, Pop. Do we have any more chats?
Gap here says, I don't want to see no fly dong or human dong. And Suzanne's laughing and Gap's laughing.
And he was arm wrestling the guy in the bar, and he broke his arm, obviously. And to
That's
him,
right.
To him, it was nothing. It was like, oh well, because his strength.
Yeah, just like Gap. You have a good night there. Hope you enjoy the rest of the stream later on tomorrow.
Good night, Gap. Have a good one. Take care.
See you, Gap. Have a good one, buddy. Take care.
Now this is a prostitute, if I remember right, isn't it?
No, she's not. She's just a slut.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
There's certain levels she doesn't get paid.
No, she's just like, nah, I'm. She's like, oh, I hope this guy wins because I'm kind of into him tonight. It's just like, nah, whatever. Like, I mean, let your freak flag fly. Like,
right, but we have to explain the reason why he's doing this, isn't it? If I remember right, because he's pissed off at Geena Davis's character, right? Obviously, so he's cheating behind her back.
Well, no, because he's like, part of him is like the fly's taking over, and like I'm assuming flies have like insane sex drives or something. Because like we missed the part where he's like, Geena Davis is like, dude, we've been going for hours. How do you even have any fluids left? And he's just like, no, right. More.
Yes, that's right. Right. That's what it was. She
and
got
then he's
more.
Like, yeah, and then he's like, you're going in the pod. And she's like, no. And he's like, then I'll find someone who will. And he needs to bang this chick and then send her into the pod for whatever reason.
Well, he's thinking maybe she's stupid enough, right? So he's going to try that. And guess who comes in?
Yeah, in the nick of time. Can you imagine? Holy shit. Although it might have been different because like she might not have. Well, no, if he had sex and put his contaminated stuff inside of her, then maybe it's hard to say, right? Because like considering what happens at the very end of the film when nothing's in the pot. Anyways, god damn it, sorry. Anyways, carrying on.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Right, he's being irrational now, of course.
Well, his brain chemistry is changing, right? Like at a molecular level, he and the flyer have combined. So we don't know what's going on with his mental transition, let alone like the bodily transition that's happening that he doesn't seem to be able to see until Veronica points out.
Right. He seems to be very compulsive and he can't control himself.
Yeah, he's changed completely. And so here we go. Once again, like he's trying to shave to the point, and like what we don't get to see in this scene is just once again his strength. He throws the razor into the bathtub and shatters it into a million pieces like it's nothing.
Let's see if I can catch that part. I remember exactly when he threw that, because you're right, he does. That was where his fingernails are starting to come out.
That's right. Did we miss the scene where, like, has she already run away? because he's like, can a normal person or can a sick person do this? And he like punches like the beam out, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude. I think we did miss that.
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to think how big. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Once again, like this movie is good enough that I've said it before and I'll say it again. Definitely watch it. Like the first 30 minutes drags on a bit with the exposition and whatnot, but as we're starting to get into the body horror here and once again, one of the things that we didn't get to see because that we're seeing now is when he was having the arm wrestle fight, his fingers were starting to produce the acid. It showed a close up, and that's the first point where the acid started coming out of his fingertips. And now in this scene, he's like popping off the fingernails and like squirting the acid pus onto the mirror.
Yep.
Like his flies eat with their feet, or taste with their feet, I should say.
Yeah.
So I guess Jeff Goldblum would be tasting with his hand.
That makes sense. And now is where he's realizing what happened and the fly DNA and all that good stuff.
And what a horrifying realization, right? To just be like, oh, fuck. Like, because it's not even just like, oh, hey, Brundle and Fly didn't like just merge together. The Fly didn't just go inside of you. It's like, no, you have bonded at a molecular level.
Yes.
It's just like, oh no, I am no longer Seth Brundle. I am Brundle Fly. And it's just like, gross.
It is. And the body horror is what really hits it home. I'm just glad it's not a disappointment.
Oh, right. And like, yeah, once again, like one of the highlights of this movie, because like if Rick and Morty didn't set me up for like Cronenberg madness, I'd probably be even more horrified. Because like I knew once again that like David Cronenberg is famous for body horror, but it's just like this stuff is awesome. It's fantastic. And I mean, like, once again, it's not David Cronenberg doing the special effects himself. That was, sorry, Pop, you mentioned the gentleman's name. I'm going to look it up here again.
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace. Wallace? Yeah, Chris Wallace. And just fantastic. Like, it's just great. Like, just the looks on Jeff Goldblum's face, the hairs that are coming. Like, look at this. Beautiful. Like, how long do you think he had to sit in the chair to do this?
Yes. That was definitely one of the commitments when he took the role, obviously, was to spend hours in the makeup chair before the cameras even roll. Just like the Elephant Man.
Oh.
No, the Elephant Man
right?
8 hours.
Oh, gross. Yeah, 8 hours just in the chair, and then, okay, now you got to probably do another 8 hours of shooting.
Yeah. I remember Robert Englund, the guy who played Freddy Krueger. It started out took several hours, and they eventually got it down to a few appliances, and they got it much faster. So, yeah, they usually start to hone their skills after a little while.
Because you would have to, right? Like, it would be, and that's one of the reasons why they don't do practical effects anymore, is because it's financially unviable when you have to pay an actor, someone like, especially if they're a big name actor, to sit in a chair for 8 hours and then pay them to go and do the movie itself. It's just like, oh.
Yes.
So right. That's what they do it with.
Well, yeah, they're right, because they're on the clock during the makeup, right? A lot of them will sleep while it's being applied.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, they have these big, comfortable chairs that they recline, and they'll just nod off and go to sleep while the person applies the makeup. And this is where they establish where he vomits on his food, right? Where he's vomiting to eat. And of course, his ear starts coming off. How nice. And of course, she's come to the realization.
Well, how do you think it would feel to be her too? To just be like, oh, hang on, I've been like banging this dude for like weeks, and we haven't been using protection, and my god. Right? Like the sequence that we're about to come up with is fantastic and horrifying. Like before there was Alien versus Predator, Requiem, before there was Alien Covenant, we get to have something that's coming up later. Very shortly. That's horrifying. You're just like, oh my god. And here we have Seth climbing on the ceiling.
And this was decades before. This was a trope. Now it's in almost every horror movie, and it stinks. They've definitely overworn their welcome on that one.
Right, and it's very difficult because like everything's a trope when you think about it, right? Like I try not to judge things on that. I just try to judge it on how well is the effect done, and the effect is done very well here, right? Like it looks like
he's right here. They have the rotating room. They actually built a replica. For those of you guys that don't know, they actually built a replica of the room and then rotated it. They actually it's on a gimbal where they actually rotate the entire room as he's walking. It's an old practical effect, and I actually like it. They also used it, like for example, in Poltergeist, among many movies, and it goes way back to the black and white movies. But now it's not. It's just it's usually the monster on the roof, CGI, and they're scuttling along really fast. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just tired of it. It's like the bullet time in the Matrix. You got, gets old after a while. Thank God they don't do that anymore. Sorry.
Yes, that was very well. I mean, that was the Matrix doing something really cool, and everyone else copying it. They're like, "Oh, that's awesome!" I'm like, "You don't understand why they did that."
Right? You're exactly right. That was exactly what happened. It was so groundbreaking. It was magnificent. It was very intelligent, smart. It was genius. And then the first movie did so well. There was a meeting in Hollywood. I remember. That it came out in the press. There was a meeting where all the studios and the producers and all that got together, and they're having a meeting, and they said, "Bullet time, that seems to be selling." Yeah, and the guy who wrote the article said, "Plan on seeing that for the next 10 years." And it's like, yeah, he was right. We just thought everybody wore that into the ground.
They sure did, unfortunately. All right, let's see, where are we at? And yeah, he's just still talking about how he's becoming the Fly, how he's one with the Fly. And one thing, once again, that we aren't able to see here, because we're having to skip past everything instead of doing like being able to watch the movie, is Jeff Goldblum's physical acting. He does a lot of twitches. His mannerisms become more and more insect-like, and it's really well done. Like, this is one of the movies that portrayed Jeff Goldblum like, yeah, Jeff Goldblum does Jeff Goldblum, but Jeff Goldblum is a very good physical actor, too.
Right, it's like he has these uncontrollable tics.
Yeah. The twitches and the nerves and the way he talks and just, yeah, it's very interesting. Very well done. I can see why this is one of the movies that kicked off his career.
It was, because he went back to the early 70s. So he'd been around a while before he did this.
Right?
He was good. It helped too. He was in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1978 version. Hopefully we'll see that. That was before this, obviously. And he had a good size role.
He did. He was really well done in it. And that was the first time I had ever seen Jeff Goldblum in anything. Well, I mean, no, that's a lie. The first time I, as a person, had ever seen Jeff Goldblum in anything was Jurassic Park. So
his first movie was Charles Bronson in Death Wish, the very first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
He was very young.
Okay. That explains why. I'm just like, well, not that I've even seen Death Wish. It's just one of the movies that, once again, I'm aware of. It's on the list.
Yeah, it was Charles Bronson. They made 10 of them. There was a lot of them, but he was in the first one.
All right, so here we have an infamous scene coming up. For those of you who haven't seen the GIF, I will draw your attention to the top right of the screen. Prepare yourself to see something long and squiggly.
Hey, at least the doctor was questioning why they wanted abortion so late at night.
No, we haven't gotten to that point yet. That's
right.
The next one coming up.
Right, I remember kids. This was the 1980s. Now, if they came in the middle of the night, they'd be like, "What took you so long?"
Yeah, this was a way more controversial. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yes,
alive
it
back
was.
then, so I'm not going to spread any information that I don't know about.
And there's our cameo of David Cronenberg playing the Doctor.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Amazing.
absolutely. Absolutely. I
Okay.
recognize him anywhere. He actually it pops up in a lot of stuff. Interestingly enough, I think he was in Star Wars, the new shitty Disney Star Wars, but he'll pop up in random movies every now and then,
Well, that's awesome. Well, I
including his
mean,
own.
I
Right.
mean, that's very Hitchcockian of him. And I
That's
mean,
what I
I'm
was
sure
gonna
there was
say.
other
Right?
people who did that, but
Yeah, John Landis was another one.
okay.
Boom!
Boom! There we go. Yes, it's so good.
I love it.
And so horrifying. Like, can you imagine having this ripped out inside of you? But I mean, like, there's no way you couldn't feel that though. Like, that thing's twitching and thrashing. Like, if she didn't feel that thing inside of her, I question a lot of things.
At least she wasn't enjoying it.
No, she didn't seem to be enjoying it at all. And then, yeah, and once again, it's unfortunate that we get the reveal that, spoilers, it's a dream. So, but
like
it is a
because
really well done nightmare sequence. Go
It
ahead.
is. I don't like the current movies that do the nightmare sequences, but I like that.
Well, nightmare sequences can be done really well because this is traumatic. This is her mind being like, hey, by the way, just as a reminder, this is a thing that could happen. And like, once again, can you imagine waking up and being like, oh yeah, this is a thing that could happen? Like Geena, no matter what you say about Geena Davis, her acting in that moment is very spot on. She looked truly horrified when she woke up. She looked like she was traumatized. She went into the fetal position. Like, I was just like, oh man, if I ever feel for you, it's right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not doubting her acting ability. Yeah, she did a good job. I just don't like the woke stuff that she did with Hollywood.
That's fair.
And of course, this is him in an entire suit, which obviously had to take a long time to get in and out of.
Right, yeah, there's no zipper in the back that he could just get to climb into, unfortunately.
Right. It was like, I wonder how he went to the bathroom. Oh, well.
He probably didn't. He either had to wear a diaper, because, yeah, there's no getting out of that.
Or, right, and the suit's big enough where they could have fit some sort of bladder in there and attached it to his, you know what, right. And just said, kind of like not quite a diaper, but a container that would hold it.
Right, or a poop sack, something.
Right. This is great. It almost reminds me of Frankenstein.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. And sorry, Gorilla, you were going to say something, bud?
I just said very carefully.
Okay.
Yeah, you asked how you went to the bathroom. Very carefully.
Oh, there. True. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
And we haven't mentioned how hot it must have been inside that latex suit. Because that's one problem too. Right? Is the heat, right? Yes. Excellent. Look at that. I love it.
Dude, it's amazing. It's fantastic. This, not only this, basically around the point where he started looking in the mirror and checking himself out is where the movie turned around for me and really caught my attention. Like, beforehand, it was dry but interesting enough, I guess, maybe. But now it's got super interesting. And yeah, like, once again, it's his acting, it's the twitchiness. There's a lot, like, not only the body horror in this movie, but it's mostly intellectual. It's a lot of talking. There's not a lot of stuff going on. It's just him coming to terms and realization and him being like, well, this is what the brundlefly wants. This is what the disease wants. Oh, no, actually. And so, yeah.
I like the fact too that it's taken seriously. They could have easily. This is because of obviously David Lynch too, but they could have written it to where at the, let's say, 20-minute mark, he was the fly, and the whole movie was about him going around killing people and all the different ways he killed them. It could have easily turned into some B movie. But the fact that it's done with class and it builds up to the ending and the climax, I like that. It takes time and it has patience. I know it's a little slow, it seems, at the beginning, but I like the way it's handled.
Well, it has, and I mean, part of me understands that it has to go slow because it has to show, you have to see how how much and how vastly Seth changes, not just physiologically, but mentally as a person. He goes from this very subdued, cute, like adorable kind of, but nerdy introvert to like this crazy manic, like, I don't want to say masculine isn't the thing. It's monstrous. He becomes monstrous. And yeah, it's played as a drama. Like, this is a drama with body horror in it. It's not like an action film or a horror film per se. It's more of like, well, I mean, it's a horror film in its own way. Body horror is its own thing, but like, this is definitely more psychological than anything else.
Right. And this is the point where she's telling him that she wants the abortion, right?
Yeah. And he's like, go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially after seeing his condition, it's like, yeah, this is where, what the hell has she been waiting for?
Well, right. And like, he hasn't seen, so he doesn't understand. But like, this is the start of the turnaround point for Stethus.
I think it, yes.
Is he
right, he does actually turn around, right? Becomes a good guy in a way.
Well, he has a redemption arc. I'll give him that. Like, he's not necessarily the good guy in the movie, but it's just like, okay, sure, you've redeemed yourself a bit. Because he calls in his doctor friend, and he's just like, bro, just do this for me, please. Because they can't give him a good reason. Because obviously, how do you be like, oh, hey, I banged this dude, and then he went into a telepod and with a fly, and then he like knocked me up, and I might have this like horrible mutant baby inside of me. Like, the doctor would be like, get the fuck out of my office and stop smoking so much crack. Like, Jesus, like, what is wrong with you? So he's pulling strings just to get his friend in the middle of the night to be like, okay, dude, please do this for me. So there is that little bit.
Right. And I don't remember, but I'm wondering, I guess maybe they didn't have ultrasound back then, because that's what you would do now. You'd say, well, you don't believe me? Let's do an ultrasound.
Well, right. Well, and her whole thing is, she's like, well, even if the baby looks normal now, you don't know if it's going to start changing, when it's going to start changing, how it's going to change. Like, I just want this out of me now, and I don't want to worry about it.
Exactly. And I don't blame her.
Like, I don't blame her either at all.
And we get our, there we get. And that's, of course, the one they showed in the, trailers and previews to hook you to watch the movie.
And once again, I was able to avoid all trailers and whatnot for the film. It's mostly like, so it's once again a great reveal of just showing, once again, just like the dude can just tank through a glass window like it's nothing. But Stethus, as he goes to like run and look through, he puts his hand on the glass and it like carves him wide open. He's just like, ah! So it's showing the durability of the fly and how much stronger he's becoming.
Right. And here's where he's trying to convince her not to get the abortion. That's the child is he still looks at it like a child, and he's basically saying it's my legacy. That's all I have.
Right.
All that stuff.
Yeah. And once again, it's a morally gray issue, because it's just like, I understand where she's coming from, but I also understand where Jeff's coming from. It's just like, I do get it, and it's horrifying, but it's just like, ugh.
It's sad.
And it's one of the better contentious points of the movie to be like, well, dude, obviously you can't have this. Like, this can't be a thing, but I understand why you need it and why you feel like, he's like, this is the last of my humanity. You're killing me. Like, I'm changing. There's no stopping this, but there's a chance that maybe he's going to be fine, or that might just be me. But then, like, once again, he's just, I think it's the mental deterioration. There's rationalization that once again, there's plenty of points in the movie where he tries to force her into the pod, and he's trying to rationalize it to her, and she's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, let go. Like, no.
Right.
So.
Right. She realizes, which he doesn't, that it's the obsession that he has. What happens, he knows he's losing and slipping away from reality, where he's not going to have anybody. He knows he's turning into a monster. He knows his life is over. and that's
right?
why.
Because like,
So I can see his motive. It makes sense.
yeah, exactly, Pop. And therein lies the issue too, right? Like, and there you go, paralleling to the 1950s version where he's telling his wife, he's like, "Dude, I'm like slipping away here. Like, you're losing me. There's just going to be the fly soon." And I don't know if have we gotten to the point where? Oh yeah, no, he has, because he's like, "You need to leave. Do you know about insect politics? Like, if you stay here, I'm going to hurt you because I'm losing my humanity, and the insect is coming out."
Yes.
It is more fly than Brundle at this
Well,
point.
and that's another good point of this movie compared to the original, because they really spend a lot of time developing the character where you really care. That's a strong thing about this. It's not like a monster where it's like you can't wait to see him die or something, but you actually, it's like I'll say it again, reminds you of Frankenstein, where you have this immense. It's a guy suffering. It's not his fault. He's turning into a monster, and I don't know. It's like Frankenstein. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'll be right back.
No, he's a sympathetic villain. I understand,
Yes.
Pop.
Which
Gorilla,
helps the movie, right? Because like I said, it could have easily been a cheap B movie where it's just a monster going around killing people, and you're counting the kills, and you're wondering which one's going to be the goriest and all that kind of crap. The fact that it's not like that, it's more adult. You have the romance, and well, it's David Lynch. I'll just say it's David Lynch, so you're not going to get a bad movie. And I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, dude, no worries, Pop.
So Suzanne's here says, "I love Gorilla's laugh." So thank you, Suzanne. She says, "Be right back." And she says, "Yeah, I thought I remember her getting pregnant by this." And she says, "This was very well done if you consider when it was made, but the acting was exceptional, in my opinion."
I agree.
All right, that's
the
all
acting
the
is
chat.
what definitely helps it. Okay. Yeah, and like, once again, just me seeing it for the first time today in its entirety. Yeah, the first half an hour is dry and dull, but yes, it is building us up so we like Seth Brundle, so we can empathize and feel horrified as we watch this person transform into this monster, because it's like watching a friend get cancer and just turn into this horrible abomination to just see them slipping away and become this just horrible mass of amalgamated flesh and tumors and it's very.
I don't know. I prefer the original. There where they combined them and gave them like a fly hand and a fly head and all that. But that's where it stopped, Versus it starts out normal, then slowly, gradually. I mean, each one has it. I see why they went with this. The original was better done, made more sense.
Sorry, I just got back.
Okay.
Repeat that, Gorilla. What part you thought was not as good, or what was that? Sorry.
They in the original there were once he got transformed into the fly, and he had an arm and a head, and a leg. That's where it stopped, and he had to try to figure things out, versus the slowly doing the threshold thing here of gradually changing into a whatever the hell he turning into.
Well, I have fly, I have
fly.
Right, butterfly, have fly, have human. So let me ask you this, Gorilla. Let's say theoretically, if this was a real story, a true story, and somebody invented the teleportation device, and as we know, as we learned from Star Trek, it breaks down your genetics, your atoms, and everything down to energy, converts it over, and then reforms it into the location. So let me ask you this. If it really happened, if a guy got into a device like that with a fly, how do you think the transformation would take effect? Do you think it would be a sudden, partial, like where it's a head and a hand? Or do you think it would be on the genetic level where the whole body changes?
I think it'd be like the two mix there where both are mixed and they each got parts of the other there all at once instead of gradually changing over like they did in Threshold.
Okay, so two mixed? What's that?
That's the one where Neelix said.
Oh no!
That's the one with Neelix and Tuvok are transported up from the planet. They have this flower with them, but because of something in the flower's genetic makeup, there it caused all all of them to get both of them to get combined together into so like he had like Tuvok's skin but Neelix's spots. I think he had Tuvok's ears, and their personalities kind of meshed together a little bit too.
Okay, no, I'm not aware of that scene or those characters or what you're talking about. I apologize. So, are you saying that you prefer where it would have been like the arm and the leg or something like that, or
yes,
you think it should have been the whole body all at once, or what?
Like the
partial
original
body,
like the original.
All right, gotcha. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Oops, I can do this right. Here's where he decides to go and deal with it himself. Has any of you guys shot a shotgun?
Yes.
Okay, good. Same here. It's fun. I like shooting guns.
Yeah, I really do want. I know a guy who has 50 cal there. I really want to fire off, but I don't want to pay for the ammo for that thing.
Yeah, they do. That's one thing here. Obviously, Arizona. It's easy to get a gun. I don't have to have waiting lists and mile-long application. All this bullshit. I can just go buy a gun anytime. And they actually, in this small town, we don't have a movie theater, but we do have a shooting range. So I'm thinking about doing that. It'd be nice. I can't really afford it, but it'd be nice to pass the time because I love guns, and I'm a good shot. Ooh, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't want to miss this. So here's we have the ex-boyfriend meet the Brundlefly. And of course, and he has the gun. It means nothing. Brundlefly immediately disarms him.
Ha ha ha!
I think you might need some new underwear now.
Right, and of course, with his immense strength, the guy doesn't stand a chance. And here we go. Yes, I love this. The pain would be undescribable. And so Brundlefly basically pukes on his hand, and this was the established that the fly pukes on its food to dissolve it before it eats it.
Well, they mentioned it earlier in dialogue.
Yes.
Yes, they did. But this is the first time that Brundlefly understands that he can use it as a weapon. I was just going to say, but God, it's a funny parallel to The Howling, how you pointed out at the very last scene when the werewolf's enjoying the kill. You can tell that Brundlefly is enjoying causing Stathis pain.
Well, I'm not sure if it's just right. He never liked this guy from the beginning, anyway. So
exactly.
Look at that! Excellent makeup.
And yeah, like you said, Pop, just like the pain of having your flesh dissolve like that, and it happens fast too. Like, oh my God. Yeah, indescribable. Like I don't know if you'd hope you'd black out or not, right? Like, because if you black out, what else is it going to do to you? Like at that point, because first he melts his hand. Now it's going to melt his leg. I don't know if we're at that part yet, or
I know, right here. It's amazing. I love it. It just really dissolves. It's like excellent. It's like, oh, he's not going to be Fred Astaire anymore. That's an excellent shot right there. An excellent still.
It really is, right? And he's going to finish him off, right? It looked like he was about to puke into about to puke into Stathis' mouth before Veronica stops him.
Yes.
And so once again showing that there's still a little bit of humanity left in him, in Brundlefly. A little bit, but not a lot, as we see, because he grabs Veronica and he's like, guess what? You're going to go in that pod, and I'm going to go in this pod, and we're going to merge together and come out as one big happy family.
That's right.
And it's just, oh my God, dude. And once again, poor Veronica here doesn't stand a chance against the fly's strength. we've already established he can snap an arm without a second thought, like, and he's trying not to hurt her because obviously he's about to merge with, or his plans are to merge with his wife and his child, basically, is how he views it.
Right. Obviously, he's totally lost his mind at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, come with me. Yes, it'll be fun. You'll love it.
Right, and unfortunately, it's just like, Veronica just doesn't stand a chance to, like, and I don't know, like, I don't think I would resist him at this point. Proving what he just did to that person, I would probably be less inclined to try and fight back, lest I get like a bunch of acid to the face or the arm or something.
I know it, right? Obviously, you don't stand a chance no matter what you do. Maybe try to bunk him in the head with something. I don't know if that's going to work. I highly doubt it. Yeah, well, right? Because it's like, we'll be together, right?
Yeah. Ugh. And just horrifying, right? Because, like, just the thought of what kind of amalgamation is going to come out, too. And how long in time is that going to take? Just, ugh.
It's not going to be pretty, I'm guessing. Nemesis.
Hey, PvP, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Sorry I'm so darn late, but it's...
Oh, no, it's fine. Better late than never.
Well, crazy weeks because we're putting in some extra time due to not working on the Christmas week. Because we go on our Christmas break on the 23rd, the Saturday, and then we don't go back till the 2nd of January, of course, with New Year's and all that stuff. So, yeah, but I got to work like a dog over the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to need a break by the time I'm done the next couple of weeks. But anyway, at least I got here for the really gruesome part.
Yeah, the best part. So I had to ask PvP, had you seen this movie before, or was this your first experience?
I was trying to remember last night when I was watching it. And this is what, 1986? Yeah. I think I might have actually seen it in the theater when it was first released, but it's been so long. My memory's kind of fuzzy. So I might have seen it on a movie channel too, but I am thinking I might have seen this on a big screen actually. So yeah, pretty fun. These effects are pretty awesome.
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree. Yes. Here's where obviously there's not much left of Seth Brundle at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd say Brundle's life is literally falling apart at this point.
Well, we'll see. There's enough of Seth Brundle coming up that he connotates a point, or he gets a point across that. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I know. I think I know the scene you're talking about, Nemesis. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And here's where, of course, he throws her in the telepod.
I got to say, the suspense in the last couple of minutes of this film were very impressive. They definitely played it for every suspenseful second they could get.
He does a good job. I think they all do. The casting, like I said, I think is magnificent.
Mm.
Even him.
Well, what I found interesting about the old boyfriend, the previous boyfriend, was that, obviously early in the film, we're supposed to think he's like a sleazy, schmuck, possibly stalker kind of guy, right? And then by the end of the movie, in this scene, we actually realized, he's actually a pretty good guy. Like, he's sacrificing, his limbs to try and save, his old flame, right? So you got to give him some respect for that,
Yes, he actually does turn brave.
Yeah.
Which is good because he's not just a two-dimensional cutout character. I like that.
True.
So he shoots the door before the teleportation sequence is able to go into effect, apparently. So he does. He
shoots the cables, so it disconnects the one telepod.
Yes, thank you.
No worries. And then go ahead, PvP.
Also, Geena's character doesn't get teleported and destroyed, basically.
Exactly. And then Brundlefly, using his immense strength, easily smashes through the door, and you're just like, oh dear, here he comes.
And he's pissed.
Yeah. Well, do you blame him?
No. Well,
no.
I'm not that crazy. I would be trying to drag her in there and merge my DNA with her.
Yeah, but once again, I think as he stated, that was his last hope that he was going to regain some humanity back. Like, I understand the reasoning, even if I don't agree with it.
Oh yeah, I understand the reasoning as well. And here we get the final reveal.
Right? How it's now Brundlepod fly.
Right, he actually unfortunately merged with the door. So he's part lead or whatever it's made out of.
Oh man. He's in pretty bad shape by this point.
But he's not dead yet. He's suffering. Can you imagine him mentally, if that was you, knowing that's your body and everything, knowing it's just an incredible scene. I love it.
Well, I have
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, yeah, like, well, not only just knowing that's you, but like the physical pain that you would be feeling because like he's got wires integrated into him now that weren't there beforehand. Like he's got metal jammed into his back. Like you don't know, like the immense, like you were talking about the indescribable agony of having your arms and limbs melted off. Like I couldn't imagine the pain that dude's going through right now.
Well, the thing is,
let alone
if you merge on the genetic level with the door, let's say the door and whatever material it's made of, let's say lead, for example, is there any pain, or the fact that he is on the genetic level, maybe there is no pain? All the pain is only mental.
Well, I mean, that is a thing in itself, right? Pain is only mental in reality, right? Like your heart doesn't feel pain, your limbs don't actually feel pain. It's just your brain and receptors and whatnot. So I would still argue that, yeah, he's in indescribable agony because, as we see here, and this is the scene that I think you and I were talking about, PvP. Oh, yes. He grabs the shotgun and puts it to his head, like asking, because she's like, he wants to die. Like, this is the last bit of humanity coming through, being like, please kill me. Like.
Yeah. Well, by this point, he's pretty much got to realize he has no hope. So, he can't continue like this, obviously. So it's basically he's asking for a mercy killing at this point.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to mention that I'm sorry to go on and on about the makeup effects, but they do a great job because it's very sympathetic. You can tell he actually is sad. Between that and the moaning and the mechanical effects on the face, the expression, he actually looks sad. It doesn't look like just a mask or a non-animate or inanimate object. I don't know. Can't go on enough about the makeup effects.
Hey, welcome, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
I hope you're doing well, Sean. Good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
Yeah, and it's like it's the eyes, it's the sound he makes, right? It's the big black eyes. It looks in, like it kind of closes. Like there's a lot of nuances to the puppetry in this effect alone that gives it a lot of humanity, that makes you feel empathy for this hideous abomination that literally just tried to kill the other main character and her ex-boyfriend, and you still feel bad for it. You still feel bad for Brundlefly.
Yes, and of course we couldn't show it here on YouTube. But he held the shotgun up to his head, and she hesitated, but then she shot and blew his head off. Which is that scene right there, I guess. I don't know if I could show it without getting in trouble.
You put a warning on this video, did you not, Pop?
Yes, adult only. But I don't know what YouTube will allow. And copyright.
Better to be safe, I guess. Yeah.
So
right? Like, I mean,
does a good job at that point. There it is.
Oh, right? I felt like this was a little abrupt.
But we would be very disappointed if we didn't show the head exploding scene like we did with Scanners.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing about Scanners is like that scene was like legendary, and it was right at the beginning, so there was lots more stuff to happen. Whereas like. And then, once again, sorry, this is what I mean by it's abrupt. Like, it just ends. Like, there's no resolution. We don't get to find out, like, what happens to the dude or, like, and I don't know if they were setting up for The Fly 2 because they thought it was going to do amazing or not.
Actually,
but it just kind of seemed to, like...
How did it do at the box office, Nemesis?
Very well. It brought Mel Brooks out of retirement. Because he made enough money where he could make another bad movie and lose all the money again. I was kind of talking about that at the beginning. Yeah, it's produced by Mel Brooks.
Really? Wow, that's very interesting. I never would have guessed.
He did this, and he also produced The Elephant Man. He did them both when he was broke and needed the money, and they were both successful. Elephant Man, especially so, was very successful.
Yeah, that was a big movie. Yeah, I guess I have a question actually about Jeff Goldblum in this. He was not quite yet a big star when he did this movie, was he?
I would say no.
No, I think this was his breakout role.
Okay,
this is what put him on the map.
But I think I would say the movie that really made him known worldwide and in the families where everybody mentions his name is Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that was what, 89 or 90, something like that.
No, that was like 99, 2000.
Oh, was it that late?
No. I was like 93, bro. Like I wasn't even alive.
Oh,
93.
sorry.
93.
There we go. Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
I was. Yeah, Jurassic Park was 93, bro. I was 4 years old.
That makes sense because
I'll look it up.
I was still in Vancouver then when I saw it in the big, gigantic theater. And I actually went with one of my girlfriends from art college. We went and saw it together and had a great time, of course. But yeah, I remember seeing that on a big screen. And wow, that's the kind of movie you want to watch on a ginormous movie theater screen.
Oh, I wish I could see this new Godzilla movie if I knew there was a theater that didn't show commercials.
Really? Yeah.
You guys heard too, Godzilla. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say they show commercials here too, man. Like it's unavoidable at this point. But at least they only stick it here to the very beginning of the movie, and then the actual movie plays.
Oh yeah, I know, but I don't mind previews and trailers for movies that are coming out. It's the television commercials. I won't pay to see that. I won't watch them outside the theater. Why would I pay to watch them inside the theater?
Well, it's insulting because you drop down like $12 or $15 or whatever the ticket happens to be that day, and you got to sit through a bunch of stuff that you could watch on the TV. It's like it's ridiculous, right? It makes no sense at all. It's just. I think, well, I guess they like to drive their audience away, just like they have with you, right, Bob?
No, the problem is the problem is you can blame the audience because they put up with it. If they would not put up with it, they would stop it overnight. But the audience, just like the self-checkouts, nobody likes them. But you know what? If people would boycott them overnight and stop using them, they'd be gone. Yeah. But the only people to blame for the commercials at the movies is the audience for putting up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Last time I went, they had I think about 20 minutes of ads at my theater.
20, 30, yeah, more.
And the thing is, they had some TV ads, of course, but what was even more annoying is they'd have these really shitty, movies, really bad, grade Z kind of flicks that I never would want to watch, even if if they were free, even if they paid me $5 to watch them, I probably wouldn't because they were just so bad. Right. And then they wouldn't show it just once, but they'd show the same trailer a couple of times, right? Oh. 5 minutes apart. And I was like, come on. I was almost ready to scream out something in the theater this is fucked. I almost got
It's got to be, yeah, but considering, even if it was a trailer for a bad movie, it had to be better than commercials, right?
Oh, it was all bad. I just remember it all sucked and I hated every minute of it. And I was like, man.
Anyhow,
on
that negative note.
Sorry. Well, how about a positive note about the film? Because I'm here so late. I'd like to, mention a few thoughts, if we have a little bit of time. I found it interesting. Jeff Goldblum looks so young in this. It's almost like he's a kid still, right? I guess he's in his mid-20s, something like that.
But he ages well. He still looks great.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he looks like young in this film, right? And I love his acting. His acting is really effective because he goes from, the shy, nerdy, scientific guy that only really cares about his teleporters. And then, when Geena Davis's character, I can't remember her name offhand. Oh, damn.
Veronica.
When Veronica seduces him, of course, that starts to change him as a person, which was kind of, I guess that, made sense in the context of the film. Even though I did think the first part of the film with the romance, all the romance stuff got a little draggy after a while, for my taste. So, I could have done if they'd shortened that a tiny bit, but maybe there was no way they could. And the schmaltzy boyfriend was kind of fun in a creepy way. And of course, once we got to she goes back to basically chew out her boyfriend for being a jerk and sending that magazine, mock up that he slipped under the door. And while she's gone, of course, old Jeff goes off the deep end, has too many drinks, and does something really bad to himself, even though he doesn't realize it, of course. And then the rest of the movie just happens after that, I guess. So once he goes in the teleporter, the storyline kind of just takes care of itself, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. I'm not going to disagree. Yes. Yes.
What's this?
As promised, everybody, This is what I was talking about.
She's gone woke.
So you see, your eyes are not lying. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing that Geena Davis helped found. And it's an AI that goes over Hollywood scripts and makes sure that they're woke. And this is from is there a year on this thing? Because this is before Hollywood went woke. I'm not kidding.
She's saying women aren't seen or heard. Was that the title
right
at the top?
Right. The whole point is to change scripts to where you're focused on women and men are. It's like if you try to figure out, okay, what is it she's trying to put? It's everything that Disney is right now. Marvel, Star Wars, right? Where all the women are self-empowered, they're feminists, and they're all
Mary
the men are weak and
Sue's,
stupid and dumb, right? And it's all based on the Bechdel test.
The first thing that pops in my head when I see that headline is, okay, there was no Emma Peel, there was no Batgirl, there was no, just ramble off Wonder Woman. Like none of these characters ever existed in the media, of course, right? Like, they were all strong, self-sufficient, kick-ass women that were not woke. They were just awesome characters, but of course they never existed, according to Geena, I guess.
Right.
It's revisionist. Revisionist history. I hate this stuff.
And it's tell us it's not true, right? They're trying to change the way we think. It's gaslighting also. This is a graph from at the time where she was bitching and moaning that look how much screen time men get compared to how much screen time women get. Now, as we know, anybody who's been to a theater, anybody who's seen a horror movie lately or any movie knows that this is the opposite of what it is now. Now movies are 95% female or what is it? 82% female and 18% male now, the way movies are. And now the women are in charge. The camera is focused on them all the time. They're all powerful. They're all knowing. They're all geniuses. They're mechanics. They're scientists. They know everything. They don't need no man. There's no more romance. There's no more Prince Charming. This is where it all began, I'm telling you.
There's no more women that are allowed to be real women. That's a sad thing. Right.
Yes. And like I said, this right here, this article I'm telling you is long before woke started. I mean, look at this year 2014, 15. Look at the year
that's what I noticed
on these columns, on these graphs.
Yeah, this is like 8 years out of date or something. It's ridiculous.
Nope. This is the beginning of when they started woke in Hollywood right here.
Well, I guess that does make sense.
This is the embryo of it.
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah. Breaking down every single thing about men, even down to how many words in the script compared to how many words the women get. And then here we are now with the pay factor. They're bitching about that, saying women don't get as much as men. I mean, everything we've heard about over the last 10 years.
The thing is, I'd like to know
it goes on and on.
But how has this data been collected and tabulated? Because we all know that statistics can lie a great deal when they're manipulated, right?
Well, it is.
Well, as we said hang on, guys. As we said in the movie here, computers are dumb and they only know what you tell them.
Right, and this is based on the Bechdel test. You guys know what that is. I told you it's an article. I can pull that up as well. It's an article that is a feminist, far-left liberal wrote, who talked about how women need more of this and more of that. And she was more of a comedian. She was actually joking, but they took it seriously.
Of course they do. So
I'm telling you, here's facts. Here's facts right here in front of your very eyes. And you can see this is 2014, 2015, decades. And back to who. Let's see now, who formulated this? Is there any name on this anywhere? I wonder. What do you think?
Sure looks like
Geena Davis. Geena Davis Institute on Gender in Media.
I love
That
the
tells you everything. And you can donate, isn't that nice?
The inclusion quotient is like a totally creepy kind of, I don't know, euphemism or something for this kind of crap. Like, wow. That sounds like something a totalitarian regime would come up in like doublespeak, you know, the inclusion quotient. You know, it's like, yeah, right. Man, scary.
Right.
So what are your guys' thoughts on the movies?
There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. Now back to the movie. But
oh yeah, if you want to go back to the movie, sure. I'd love to talk some more about the movie if you guys are into it.
Okay, so reminder everyone in the chat. I'm sorry, but to go off on that tangent, but I wanted to let you guys know that I wasn't completely crazy, and it really did happen as far as regarding Geena Davis. And there's a poll in the chat. If you feel free, and you have the time, and if you really care enough, consider giving us a vote in the poll. You can vote on your opinion of the movie or our handling of the movie, or the way we did our stream.
I voted already, so
we were entertaining. Well, thank you, PvP. So, and as usual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go clockwise and ask each person on one of my wonderful friends here what they thought about the movie, and then after that, I will share the results of the chat from the poll there. So, Gorilla, my good buddy, and this is the first time you saw the movie, so your final review is what?
Oh, it was an alright movie. There's some things in the original that I would have preferred over this, like we were talking earlier. Like, I preferred how in the original they just did it all the changes all at once and just made him half man, half fly. Versus this one, he slowly changed. It reminded me too much of Threshold.
Is that the Star Trek episode?
Yeah, that's the Void. That's the Voyager one that everybody hates and bashes on.
Okay,
that's the one where Janeway and Tom Paris get turned into lizards, and then they go make some babies.
Oh, that sounds pretty dreadful.
I know. I've seen what Janeway looks like. Yeah, I agree.
Well, she looks bad enough, you know, most of the time, but that's just my opinion.
Looks all right as a lizard.
Maybe it's an improvement, eh, Gorilla?
That was all right. I'll give it a B. The effects are all right and stuff, you know, but it's something about the original, and this one kind of reminded me of Threshold, though. But it's getting that high ranking because of Jeff Goldblum.
All right. Yeah. So, so straight up, which movie do you like better, the original or this one?
I think the original.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. That's excellent because the original still does stand up. It's a different type of movie. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Is there anything you'd like to share about your channel, Gorilla?
Let's see. I'm going to try to get a few more shorts out, and I'm going to be testing out it. I'm going to be messing around with the shorts a little bit, so you might see some weird new shorts coming out there. But I got a new segment. I'm starting out. You can see it by my background there with the Keys to the Kingdom. And they'll be doing discussions. My next one will be on the front door of the house. I just don't know when I'll have time to do that. So I'm getting a little too tired to do it tonight. So, but otherwise, 2 watch parties a week. On Wednesdays, we were watching Justified. Then on Sunday, we are watching Silent Night for our 6 weeks of Christmas. And then on Fridays, we're reviewing The Waltons. And then on Saturday, we're reviewing Trading Places.
Excellent. I love Trading Places. One of my favorite comedies. The Duke Brothers. And, okay, thank you, Gorilla. I appreciate your time. And thank you for the review, and especially most of all, thank you for helping me with the chat tonight.
No problem.
All right, Nemesabine, if you're there, it's your turn. What do you think? Give us your review and tell us about your channel if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely. So overall, a pretty solid movie. The intro drug on a little bit. I understand the character development that we needed, like I said before, to establish empathy for Seth Brundle and Veronica. and even Stathis. Once again, like the creature effects are fantastic. Like the best part of the movie is the makeup and the special effects. Like it's worth a watch just to see those in their entirety versus especially in context. Like they're very famous, they're very clipped otherwise. So definitely check that out. And like I've been introduced to a lot of this movie through references and whatnot, through just modern media. Even as a kid, playing Pokemon, there was one part where you come to a dude and he's standing in front of two paws and he's like, "Hey, I may have had a mishap and I've spliced myself with a Pokemon." And so they've even snuck references into kids games back in the 90s. Like,
That's great.
So it's fantastic. Like this is a very influential movie. And once again, the creature effects are solid. You feel empathy for the characters. But due to the beginning kind of just dragging on, like if you're into technobabble and exposition, fantastic. If you like the sex scenes, fantastic. Not necessarily for me. A solid B+, definitely worth watching once in its entirety. And if I would, the difference, which one I like better, it's really hard to say, Pop, to be honest. Like you said, they're two completely different movies. Like they share some of the same elements, of course, but like this is very much a love story that turns into a psychological body horror flick, whereas the first one is very much just more 50s science fiction. So I'll go with and say the 80s version is the better one for me. I don't know, it's got a darker atmosphere. If I wanted to have something kind of light and cheerful, I guess, if you can even say the original 50s Fly is that, I would put that one on. But like if I wanted to like see some good creature effects, I would throw this movie on instead, of course. So yeah, solid B+. And then
Very
for
cool.
my channel, go ahead.
No, I know it's very cool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and as for my channel, I've been doing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links as of late. I might be playing a little bit of Skullgirls, playing and putting that up online. Yeah, so definitely if you're into that type of thing, if you're into card games or fighting games, check that out. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I would love to have you there. And thank you to Pop for having me on, and thank you to the chat for sticking around and watching this. And if you have made it this far in the rewatch, you are a champion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and your time with us and your review. I really do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, PvP. I know you were a little late, but give us your heartfelt opinion.
I wish I could have got here a bit sooner to have more input. And anyway, I'll give some input now since we've reached that time of the stream. I kind of agree with the Gorilla and Nemesis that I like both films a lot. Like there are obviously very different films from very different eras. Obviously, you couldn't have Vincent Price mutate with the kind of effects you had in the 80s film, because audiences probably would have ran out of the theaters, vomiting or something if you had,
yes,
back then, right? So it's like, but I love them both. Well, I like the old one mainly because of Vincent Price. Like Vincent's always good in everything he does, and the fly effects were cool, and the story was good, and David Hedison was fun, and it was just a overall good, sci-fi flick. And I do love the scene at the end where he's going, "Help me, help me." That's a great scene. I mean, that was unforgettable. So, but then I flip over to this one, and I got to say the effects are, total first rate, horror and gore all the way, and they're really well done. And but I think I don't know. I really struggled with this one. Like I was close to giving it a B+ like Nemesis, and because as he mentioned, the slow start, the romance stuff, the technobabble, a lot of that stuff I could have done without as well, to be honest. But what boosted it for me, I ended up giving it an A-, because for me it was Jeff Goldblum's performance that really sold this film for me. Like he starts off as this total shy nerd, kind of almost like a scientific schmuck in a way, with no real life, outside of his laboratory. And then of course, he meets Veronica and they get it on, and so he's starting to turn into an actual, real guy, finally in his life. And then of course he makes a tragic mistake, and it all goes to hell. But I love his performance. Like at first he's so charming and sweet, right, in the early scenes, with Veronica when he's falling in love with her. And then of course once he's gone through the transformation and he's starting to mutate, he becomes more and more of an aggressive jerk, basically, and starts to really become like quite hateful. And Goldblum, to me, sold all those characteristics all the way through the transformation of the character. So that's why I ended up giving an A-, because Jeff Goldblum, I thought, was really solid in this movie. And then, of course, by the end, when you start getting the special effects, and when his body's falling apart, like his ears are falling off and his teeth are falling out, and it's like, oh my God, it's just so grotesque, but it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, well, we already talked about the ending, and that's pretty memorable stuff at the end. So I guess that's pretty much it. I don't want to drag it on too long. Sorry, guys, because I do get chatty at times. And yeah, that's about it as far as rating the film. It's a good, solid horror flick when I'm in the mood for this kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Is there anything you'd like to share about your channel?
Not a great deal going on at the moment, because I'm probably going to be working my butt off the next few weeks. So I don't know how much time I'm going to be uploading anything. But that said, actually, I should mention there's a very Canadian rock and roll band called April Wine that I think Nemesis might have heard about them, since he does live up here. You guys in the U.S. probably haven't heard, because even though they did have some big hits down there.
Enough is enough. Yeah, I remember talking about that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. Anyway,
I've heard that song since the early 80s, but yes, I do remember.
They did break through in the States in the 80s to a certain degree, definitely. And then, of course, they started to break through in Europe and stuff, too. So
thanks to MTV.
Well, yeah. I mean, they started, I guess, around 69 when they formed. I think they put their first album out around 1971, a couple years after that. And they were basically, well, they were mainstays in Canada in the 70s and 80s. They were huge. I mean, they had a string, so many hits, I can't remember them all, but tons and tons of, probably couple dozen hits at least over the years. And then by the 90s, of course, they get a little older, and it starts to fade a bit, and some of the albums maybe aren't as solid as they used to be, but they still kept going. I think they put their last album out like sometime in the 2000s. I'm not sure if it was like maybe 10 years back or something, but anyway, the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up is their lead singer, songwriter, guitarist, Miles Goodwin, passed away about a week and a half ago on a Sunday. And he was such a very talented guy, and in interviews he always seemed like a decent person and everything. So I just kind of wanted to plug April Wine, because I will be uploading some April Wine albums there over the next few weeks, probably more so maybe over the Christmas break, but I'm definitely going to try and get some up, because there's a lot of really good music there. And they not only did the ballads, but they did a lot of hard rockers too, so there's something for everybody. But anyway, I guess that's about it, because I've gone on probably way too long. Sorry, guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And see if I can see this and not screw it up. And my opinion is, I'd give this movie. I know I go off on stuff that a lot of people don't think about or consider, but I'm a huge fan of David Cronenberg, and I think he was at the top of his game when he did this. And the special effects, I think, were amazing. Chris Wallace, groundbreaking special effects. They stand out, which like I said, I totally miss. Geena Davis, I'm not a fan of her now, which I demonstrated for you guys the reason why. But she did a serviceable job of doing this. Her acting was good. And as far as the comparison of the special effects and the makeup and the body horror of the first movie compared to the second one, David Hedison was actually asking them if they could do a slow transformation like they're doing in this movie. He actually asked for that when they made the original, and they said that it was the audiences wouldn't be able to handle it, and plus the budget didn't allow it, because if you guys remember, the first movie did not have a lot of money. But David Hedison did think about that at the time. He said, wow, can't we do the slow transformation rather than the head and the hand? But it was due to budget, and they didn't have faith in the audience, so the audience could handle that.
That's very cool. I never knew that. Thanks for letting us know, Pop. That's very cool.
Oh, no problem at all. But I'm a fan of both movies. If you were to ask me which one's better, I couldn't answer. Because I'm such a hush up pooch. Sorry about the dogs. But okay. I'm such a fan of the old classic horror. It's gonna be, you're gonna find it very difficult for me to say something modern is better than the classic, because if it wasn't for the classic, we wouldn't have the modern. So I guess I have to say the first one was the best as far as pacing. Definitely the pacing, and they got the idea across. And I always did love the head and the hand. But I can also understand the genetic level, because honestly, in my opinion, if there was a real transportation device and two distinctly different beings merged, I think it would be more like, it would be either the slow genetic transformation like in the new movie, or it would be an immediate transformation where it would be the entire body. I don't think it would be like a head and a hand or a leg and a this, but it had to be the whole body, because obviously when you transport, it's a genetic level and your DNA is being broken down and reassembled.
Makes sense.
But I don't know if that's stipulated.
That makes total sense, actually. Yeah. Well, I think that's why. Sorry, just going to quickly add. I think that's why it takes so long for him to actually really start transforming, is because the fly is very, very tiny and he's very, very big. So his probably has more genetic material than the fly did, of course, right? So it takes a lot longer for it start to like.
It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I think if it's broken down at the genetic level, I don't think how it matters the size of one over the other.
Okay, I just wonder why it took so long, because it did take quite a while for him to transform totally, right? So
because the movie, and they want to build the tragedy between, it's like Romeo and Juliet.
That's true.
Right. Okay. So, but I think if it really happened in real life, I know this is crazy, but I think it would be instantaneous. I think as soon as he came out of the telepod the very first time, he would be 100% merged with the two. I don't know what that would look like or how it would be, but I think it would be instant. And not only that,
makes sense.
But like blood and kidneys and hearts and organs when you get a transplant, how do we know that they would have been totally compatible, where the two could have been merged on a genetic level and still survived? I think it may have been dead, because I think it's part of the fantasy that of the fly and a human emerged, and it lived, not only lived the transportation, but it was very healthy and slowly, the whole plot of the movie. But I think that it's like trying to put, if you took a kidney out of a human and put it in an ape, it probably wouldn't work. I don't think it'd be compatible. So I'm not sure, but unless, fantasy and plot wise, that you figure out, well, if they're it's like Kirk, it's like Star Trek, when we saw Kirk divided, or where we've seen different. You guys have seen more Star Trek than I have, but they've had transporter accidents. So that's part of the fiction, right? How they handle that.
Well, I remember.
I'm off on a tangent now, and I apologize, but
no, that's fine.
I'm giving the movie an A.
Well,
okay,
that's great.
That's fair.
Yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted to mention, the transport accident most memorable for me in Star Trek is in the motion picture early in the film, because they have a horrific transporter accident where somebody basically disintegrates.
It was supposed to be Spock's replacement, but thank goodness, Namor decided to come back. And PvP, that Jill's covering the motion picture Friday on her.
One reason I mentioned it, Pop, because I was hoping you were going to say that. Because I do like to give her channel a little bit of publicity when I can. So.
Yep, and I Derivative Jill, everyone, if you get a chance, please check that out Friday. I believe it'll be around noon on her channel.
Yeah.
We're going to cover Star Trek the motion
picture. I could be there, but not this week, unfortunately. Oh well.
I don't know if I'm going to be on the panel or not. I don't know if I'll be invited, but I'll at least be in the chat.
Speaking of the chat, do we have any more chats, Gorilla?
Yes, thank you, Gorilla. Gorilla?
Yeah.
Oh, Gorilla.
Oh, yeah. Dozing off.
Yeah. I think he was falling asleep. Hey, buddy, chat.
It's getting late there. We understand.
Yeah, I need to end this year, so I'm going to be covering. Yeah, Gorilla, we were asking, do you know if there's any chat that is remaining?
Yes, there is. Sean saying hi, hello to everybody. We said hello back there. D.O. Berger says, when this movie came out, there was some talk about it being an allegory about AIDS, but I think Cronenberg said it was not.
Definitely not.
OG here says, good stream, Pop.
Thank you. I had a great time. I appreciate you being here.
I mean, I can understand the allegory because they do mention he talks about it being a disease and the disease wants him to do this. So maybe, but yeah, no, I don't think that's what it was about.
No, we can look back now in 2023 and say that, but in 1986, AIDS was a big thing, and everybody was talking about it. So I can see why that it was brought up.
I can see why they'd say that, but I think maybe the people that were saying that back then, when AIDS was a big panic time, maybe they'd never seen the original film, so maybe they didn't draw the parallel, like the source material. If that makes any sense, guys.
Yeah, that does. Yep. That's a good point.
Ignorance, in other words, yes.
Yeah. That said, amazing stream there.
Oh, great, cool. Thank you.
Hi, Suzanne.
Daleberg says, women are seen and heard in the movie Watch. They do need a man. Suzanne says, looks like I will last the entire stream, Pop. Just took a shot to sleep in 30 minutes. I'm good to go with no interferences.
I'm glad to hear that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Suzanne says, A++. Excellent coverage and insight all around, Pop. Love the stream tonight. Love PvP's comment and opinion.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne. That's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, she put PvP's channel in. That's all the chats.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Gorilla. And I'm going to end the poll in the chat and share the results with everybody, if that's okay. So I hope everyone voted, and please consider hitting the like button if you hadn't had a chance to do that yet.
Oh, yeah, I got to do that. Darn.
Oh, wait, which reminds me too. Okay, so next week, horror sci-fi stream. Are we doing like? I remember I gave 4 options for everyone to vote on, and they voted for all of them. Okay, so we did the sci-fi, and then we did the Hammer.
It's your turn to pick a movie.
And then we did.
You had Silent Running on there too, I remember, Pop.
Yeah, and then we did the vote. That was 3 weeks, but there should be 4. What's the 4th one? I don't think it was my choice. Because remember, we were going to rotate between you and I, Nemesis, and you chose the first one, which was great. And I'm trying to remember now.
I'm trying to think of what horror movie I picked, though, because I know I picked Starship Troopers for the science fiction, but...
If you're talking the ones you put up 4 days ago where The Fly got picked, there, of course, Silent Running was there, but the other options were Return of the Living Dead and Eraserhead.
Yes.
No, we're talking about how we originally PvP, we had decided that there was going to be week 1 was going to be the horror one, and then week 2 was going to be sci-fi, and then week 3 was going to be Hammer, and then week 4 was going to be audience chooses.
Right, I do remember
that. So I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so hopefully we can get it sorted out.
I know. I need to actually write it down. I need to write it down instead of trying to rely on.
So what should next week be then? Gosh, we had Hammer a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Dracula.
I mean, I'll pick the horror movie if you want me to, but I'm pretty sure it's your turn, Pop, to pick the horror movie, and then it's science fiction, and then Hammer, and then.
Okay, well, if I pick a movie, it may not necessarily be a horror movie.
What? Okay, that's fine.
It's like Hatchet. There's some movies I want to introduce to you guys that you have not seen yet. So don't expect an answer right now, but I will think about it, and I'll have an answer posted in the next day or so. Probably by tomorrow, I'm sure.
Sounds good, dude.
Yep, that sounds good. No rush.
Okay, now let's see if I don't screw this up as usual. All right, here we go. Here's the results of our poll. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for voting. Looks like we had 11 votes. What grade would you give The Fly? A+ to A-, got an 81%. Nice. B+ to B-, 9. and C+ to C- 9. And looks like we got, even though Gorilla is here on the panel, we got no F's for tonight, so I'm very happy. But even when he does give F's, that's okay.
Well, I'm never sure if Gorilla's F's are like totally, sincere. Like sometimes I think he gives something an F just for the fun of it, kind of thing. So.
Well, it's right. Like it's got to be pretty. It's got to be basically not a movie to be an F in my regard. Like it's got to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely not a Blumhouse movie, or for me, I would probably give it an F every time. It's got to have class and it's got to have taste, and it has to be produced and made by people who have talent, which you'll never find in a Blumhouse horror movie.
Now, style and intelligence helps a lot too if they can put those into the movie.
Exactly right.
By the way, just speaking of style and intelligence, I thought your thumbnail this week was awesome. Like that was really good. You really did a good job on the thumbnail for this stream.
I agree. That's a very, very good point, PvP.
Well,
are you talking about the fly?
Yeah, the fly thumbnail was awesome with the fly's head and a little Jeff in there crouching down. Like I thought, wow, this is really good.
Yeah, I think it works. It's hard
great.
To get it in high definition. It's hard to get it in high definition where it's not blurry.
Yeah, I really liked it. One of your best, I thought.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we all gave it a review, and we covered the chat, and we gave the audience or the chats the poll, the results. I believe that's it. Is there anything anybody wants to share before we leave? And like I said, everybody stay tuned. I will post in the community tab what movie I'm going to show next. I'll probably do it tomorrow.
Sean Carter.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sean Carter accidentally voted a B. He meant an A, so it should be 90%.
Oh, there you
go. Okay, Sean. That's okay. I forgive you.
I just want to quickly let Gorilla know that I don't know if I'm going to make the Walton stream on Friday as much as I'd like to. It all depends if I can shift my schedule around and work earlier that day, because I know you're probably starting at 5 Pacific like you usually do. So, as I say, I got to work those extra hours. Being off Christmas week, we got to make up for the time this week and next week. So it's a pain in the butt, but it has to be done. So anyway, I'll try to be there, girl. I just wanted to let you know.
Hey, just give me the number. I could call your boss and act like I'm a family member and tell it's an emergency.
Yeah, I'm his mom, by the way. Yeah, just call him. I'm his mom.
Yeah, and then somebody else would get my calls, and they'd make the money that I was going to make, and my boss would get pissed off. And no, don't worry, girl. Too many ramifications there, potentially. I'll survive anyway. I missed last week's Walton stream, so it's no big deal if I miss one occasionally.
Well, with that, thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially everybody here on the panel. It was so good to see you guys. Thank you for helping me out with this movie. I had a great time, and especially thank you to everybody in the chat. Without you guys, like I've said before, I love you. We wouldn't be here. And this is the highlight for me. I really enjoy it. And I should be available tomorrow for Gilligan's Island. I've got an appointment early in the morning, but that's just for physical therapy. But I'll be ready for Gilligan's Island. I'm excited to get back to that. It's been at least 2 weeks, and I feel terrible. And by the way, we've got to get to season 3 so we can see Strawther Martin again.
Are we on the last 2 episodes of season 2 tomorrow?
Yes, we were very close to the end of season 2.
Oh, I figured so. Cool.
We're still in friendly position, aren't we?
Still in what? I'm sorry.
The friendly physician, or did we do that already?
I haven't even looked to see which one. It doesn't sound familiar. So I need to look to see which ones are next because I haven't even watched them yet.
That's the one where they get that weird doctor guy to come to the island there, then they take him to his island there. Then we had V for Vitamins where they're all suffer from
superpowers.
Nope. It's the one they're suffering from scurvy.
The one you had 12 days ago, Pop, looks to be Ghost to Go-Go and Allergy Time.
12 days ago. Wow. Yes, we definitely need to get caught up. So, Gorilla, I take it you've already seen the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, because you messaged me about
last
7
week.
we're
That's why.
gonna have it.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that because you watched them, and I wanted to apologize. I've been meaning to do that because I know you watched them, and then I had to cancel, and I felt really terrible. So I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, the episode you were thinking of, Pop, is "Pass the Vegetables, Please."
That's it. We haven't gotten to that one yet, have we?
No, that's gonna be a few weeks from now.
Good. I like that one. It's one of my favorites.
Pass
Silly,
the
it's Gilligan's Island, but oh well.
Is Pass the Vegetables, Please about avoiding the current media coming out of Hollywood? Okay, that joke fell flat. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
okay. So
go here. Just
go ahead.
I got something that'll make you feel. I got something that'll make you feel better.
Uh-oh.
You're
Oh God, here it comes.
Oh my, what are we going to see?
Oh, Gorilla's been dying to use this all night.
This better be decent, Gorilla. Come on.
It's telling me to scroll down.
Thank you.
Oh, is it playing?
Yes, Gorilla, it's playing. We got a double dose. Thanks, bro.
I don't feel bad. I could slap my own head for that. Really.
All right.
Must be that time of night. I need to have supper and go to bed.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, everyone on the panel. Thank you, everybody on the chat. If you have to work tomorrow, drive safe. And thank you for spending time with us. It was a blast, and I hope to see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, if I have that right, for Gilligan's Island. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.